They were killed there by India's Black Cat Commando Force, the elite force which mounted a final and decisive operation. Tonight, in the last few hours, we've seen those Black Cat Commandos leaving the hotel area on buses. They were applauded and cheered by Indian onlookers who were singing the Indian national anthem.
Early this morning, and elite anti-terror units launched the decisive assault to seize back the Taj Palace. Snipers perched high on a crane. And finally, the last 3 attackers inside the hotel shot dead by India's security forces.
We have got 3 terrorist bodies of 3 terrorists so far. We are going through the entire hotel, through the corridors, through the rooms, until we are able to check each and every room.
The anti-terror teams released this extraordinary footage. It was taken inside the Taj Hotel.
You see the fireman go in and immediately walk out.
Commandos stand guard while firemen try to put out the blazes set off by the ferocious battle. Working even though it wasn't clear if all the gunmen had been killed.
Finding people alive.
Despite their bravery, parts of the inside of the hotel were gutted. This was the ground floor of the building where the attackers caused so much carnage. The lobby and the restaurants where they gunned down people as they stormed the hotel on Wednesday. Evidence of what must have been moments of utter terror. The hotel security that the attackers so easily brushed aside. Items abandoned as people tried to flee. And glimpses of the way guests tried to escape using sheets and curtains to climb down from the windows. Deepak Dutta, who escaped from the hotel, told me how he returned to the building today, and commandos showed him a body, saying it was the last gunman they killed.
They did find his body. He had an AK-47 next to him. The wooden stock was all burnt out.
Meanwhile, in Mumbai, they've begun to bury the dead. This was the funeral for Hemant Karkare, the chief of the city's anti-terror police. 5,000 people lined the streets. He died in the gun battles with the militants. Inside the Taj, the investigations have begun. We've heard from some of the commandos who said the gunmen appeared to know the layout of the hotel intimately and appeared to have military training in the way they were able to evade the security forces. The questions that need to be answered now. Who were these men, and what will India's response be?
Western or non-Indian nationals. It's been very critical of US involvement and British involvement in Afghanistan, and has been speaking about a Zionist Indian conspiracy to overwhelm Pakistan.
Police believe the militants came ashore after travelling by sea from the Pakistani port of Karachi. The Pakistani government denies any involvement. It says it's committed to fighting Islamist militants.
Pakistan is not involved in this ghastly act. And that is why we do not have to be on the defensive, and we are not on the defensive.
3 days after these attacks, rumours persist of a British connection. It's even been reported that one of the gunmen had a British passport. But British diplomats are adamant that in many meetings with the police and with senior government representatives here, there's never been a shred of evidence presented to substantiate those rumours.
India is focused on its suspicions about Pakistan. Tensions between the 2 nuclear powers had already been rising in recent months. That has only been exacerbated by the bloodshed of the past few days.
The siege at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel may now be over, but for those who survived, the memory will never fade. Lynn and Ken Shaw arrived home in Penarth today. They were among the lucky ones. They were dining at one of the restaurants inside when it was stormed.
There was a sudden burst of gunfire out in the corridor, just a sharp burst. The maitre d' screamed for everyone to get down under the tables, and there was continued firing.
Running for the nearest service corridor for safety, they came under renewed fire.
We just turned and fled. Luckily, in my second stroke of luck that night, I'd chosen to wear flat shoes and trousers rather than heels and a dress. But I still stumbled in the panic. But I think that must have helped.
Saved your life.
I think that probably saved my life.
Instead, another guest running with her was hit. They don't know if he survived. By now, around 80 of them, some injured, were hidden deep inside the hotel.
One gentleman had a back injury, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have survived that. A bullet, and he was asking for hospital, and I mean, he was coughing up blood.
And the Indians were very, very keen for us not to admit our identity.
Yes.
You know, if anything but British or American.
Yes, so
they warned us just to be on guard.
I was busy practicing my Aussie accent at that stage.
12 hours on, and finally the moment of truth. They were discovered. But by whom? And were they to be executed or rescued?
I really thought, this is it, they're going to take us out here. And then I spotted the Gurkhas, and the carnage was...
That was quite reassuring.
Yes.
The carnage was unbelievable.
Blood and guts, bullet cases.
Their ordeal was at an end, but they'll be haunted by what they endured.
It was a seriously scary experience, and I saw things, and I never want to see things like that again.
Well, for the last couple of days, Mumbai has sounded rather like a war zone with explosions and gunfire. Finally, the streets are quiet tonight, but the people here really traumatized, talking about this as India's 9/11. In fact, the one captured gunman who's been talking to interrogators has apparently said that's what the gunmen were trying to do, to carry out India's 9/11. Well, at the end of it all, almost 200 people are dead.